What? I said, are you ready? Yeah! Get stealing, woo, wheeling, dealing. The cream of the crop. Nobody does it better. I got 141 and 2/3 chance of winning. But brother, I am bad and they know I'm bad.
I'm the man of the hour, the man with the power. Too sweet to be sour.
It's showtime, folks.
Welcome to the Grill Out. From the heart of Shillian, West Virginia, here's your host, Hollywood Jeff Petty.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, back to the Grill Out.
We're back.
Episode 36. I am your host, Hollywood Jeff Petty, and I'm joined by none other than the belt expert, our belt expert, the belt collector, our belt collector, Maestro Cole, Josh Cole.
Do you hear that? Do you hear that?
Oh, we're getting there. We're getting there.
I believe.
I believe in Joe Hendry. That's not the first story, but we will get to that because Joe Hendry has he
made an impact.
Yes, exactly. There's the pun. He has made an impact. But the first story that we will jump into, Jason's not with us today. Okay, we took a sabbatical last week. I will say this. We took a sabbatical. Need to take a real quick break before we get into some other stuff that we'll get into later in the show.
He's in the Congo.
Yeah, he's in the Congo right now with the baddie, trying to figure out where Chuck E. Cheese is and whether or not cookies are real.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where we're at. Yeah. First off, the WrestleMania 41.
WrestleMania.
Next year, WrestleMania 41, the location has been revealed. This is coming from ABC 10. WrestleMania 41 is officially heading to Las Vegas just 1 year after hosting the Super Bowl. Allegiant Stadium will be the site of the two-night professional wrestling behemoth on April 19th and April 20th, 2025.
Easter weekend.
Yes. The company made the announcement during the 150th Kentucky Derby pre-race show on Saturday afternoon. This past Saturday, I guess, after Backlash, or I think during Backlash, actually.
It was after, yeah.
Okay. So, yeah. They're moving it to later in April. It will be Easter weekend, which isn't a bad idea, actually.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know of any. I mean, there are other sporting events that weekend. I think NASCAR themselves are trying to go away from Easter weekend because they traditionally don't do anything on that particular weekend. But Nick Khan has talked about they don't want to go head-to-head with the Final Four anymore, which this is kind of the first time I've ever heard of that being an issue.
Yeah.
So instead of them going earlier in March, which is what some people were saying, it looks like they've decided to go later in April. And some people were even saying that maybe May, which I don't know. I'm okay with later in April.
Yeah.
May would have been way too weird.
Yeah. Plus you got Double or Nothing that month as well, which is AEW's big one.
Yeah, like a lot of people were worried about them moving it to Memorial Day weekend and kind of making that their thing, and where AEW is already running Double or Nothing those weekends.
Well, WWE's already kind of trying to do that. Last year they ran NXT Battleground against Double or Nothing, and then this year they were almost going to do that again, but they do have King and Queen of the Ring the night before.
Yes.
Or day before, whatever.
Yeah, technically. Our time day before, their time night before. And speaking of that, we will get into a rather announcement that we made on the Facebook page this past week later in the program.
Yeah.
But that is the location for WrestleMania 41.
One thing I find interesting about that is that this is like the first time that a different event will be held at a stadium before WrestleMania, because SummerSlam was at Allegiant Stadium in 2021.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I never thought of it like that.
And Money in the Bank was going to be there.
Oh, yeah.
That didn't happen.
Yeah, well, no. This hasn't been confirmed, but there has been rumors, as far as WrestleMania goes, that there might possibly be a WrestleMania, or at least a Big Five, over in London.
I could see one of the other ones. Who knows? Maybe Survivor Series. It hasn't had a location announced yet.
That's true. It could be Survivor Series.
Yeah.
And whatnot. But
there's also possibly in Saudi Arabia Royal Rumble WrestleMania.
Yeah, they've already had the greatest Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
So just put the legit canon.
Yeah.
There,
They did say they're going to make that announcement during King and Queen of the Ring, like whatever this new update is to the deal. So who knows? Maybe that could be Survivor Series, since that hasn't been announced yet. I don't know.
Well,
Maybe they'll scrap Crown Jewel this year.
Maybe. You know what? But at the same time, I will believe it when I see it.
Yeah.
And speaking of believing, good segue there. I believe in Joe Hendry.
When you hear his name, he appears. I believe in Joe Hendry.
Joe Hendry is making such an impact on the wrestling community altogether.
Got to wave those hands side to side.
Oh, yeah, exactly. You got to. I hope nobody walks into the studio right now and sees me doing this. Okay. No, Joe Hendry has made such an impact in the world, not just in professional wrestling, but in the world. I have received text messages from 2 different people asking me if I believe in Joe Hendry, and immediately I went, "Oh, look a hero, Joe Hendry." I went straight back to his UK independent days, and people were like, "What are you talking about?" I'm like, "Oh, that's not it." Then I found out what's happening. So Joe Hendry. His theme song is "Catching Fire," and I think Joe Hendry's good anyway. I enjoyed him when he was with WCPW, What Culture Pro Wrestling, and was doing a little bit of things with them and whatnot. I do enjoy him, and he is definitely making an impact because this is the first time we've talked about TNA since Scott D'Amore, which we'll get to that one later.
TNA's back, I guess.
Joe Hendry is.
Yeah,
Joe Hendry is. So this is coming from 411mania.com. While speaking with the BBC about his theme song, I Believe in Joe Hendry, hitting number 4 on the official charts in the UK, quote, "People had always liked my entrance song. On TikTok, people were making videos with it, getting literally millions of hits. I put it up on Spotify one evening, didn't think nothing of it, and when I woke up, it was number 20 in the iTunes charts. I thought it was funny, so I tweeted it out, and it just caught fire from there. Life's been an absolute roller coaster since then. The fan base has been unbelievable. The support has been unbelievable, and it's so fun and rare in life. When something like this happens, when it's so unexpected and it happens, it's so cool." End quote.
I like the Judgment Day one with CM Punk.
I haven't seen that one.
It's WrestleMania. You know when Damian Priest again, they come out and CM Punk was turned around all surprised about it.
Yes, I have seen that.
And then they have him clapping with the song as well.
Yeah, because we all believe in Joe Hendry. Listen, it's Catching Fire. He is making an impact.
I'm surprised he hasn't appeared. We've said his name however many times now.
I know. Joe Hendry, if you would like an interview, we would be more than happy to do it because we are the only professional wrestling radio show in the state of West Virginia.
Yeah.
We're not the only podcast, but we're the only legitimate radio show. So
that's right.
But we believe in you. We do.
We might also believe, but that's another story.
Yeah. We'll get once that comes to fruition a little more.
Yeah.
We will. There is some speculation. It's more on the nose now about the whole Wyatt Six faction stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That's
been really creepy too.
Yeah.
It's almost more creepy than Wyatt stuff.
I was going to say it's a little more creepy than what Bray was doing when he was alive and doing all of this. Man, Bo Dallas is maybe a little darker than Bray.
He might be. I don't know.
Maybe or quote unquote Uncle Howdy.
Maybe it's all this Netflix money.
Maybe. Speaking of Netflix, Monday Night Raw and NBC agreed to a deal until the Netflix deal starts. So you've heard us talk on the program before. We talked about when Monday Night Raw is going to switch over to Netflix January 2025. And that is a possibly 10 to 20-year deal with them, worth in the billions. It's huge. Actually, there has been a lot of kind of tongue-in-cheek stuff where the content may go. Some are saying that it may go to a more adult-oriented approach because with Netflix, you don't have as many restrictions as you do on a traditional network like NBC, USA Network, and all of that. So the current deal, the current deal with Monday Night Raw was supposed to end in October. So that left 3 months between October 1st and December 31st, where Monday Night Raw did not have a deal with NBC. So where was Monday Night Raw going to go? Well, we know now. The two sides, this is coming from Sports Illustrated, the two sides reached a $25 million deal to keep Raw on USA Network before the Netflix transition kicks in. Some tidbits have surfaced on what the 3-month extension means and why Netflix wanted to wait until January for WWE content. End quote. Yes, that is from SportsIllustrated.com. At least for those 3 months, you will have both SmackDown and Raw on USA.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of coin.
It is.
For 3 months of television.
Yeah.
I mean, what is that? That's 25 million. You know, what? Divide that by 3. That's roughly like 8 million.
Something, yeah.
Yeah, like roughly 8, maybe 8.5 million per month that they're spending on Monday Night Raw. Which, that's. I'm not shocked by this though, because they already have that working relationship with WWE. Because I mean, if they didn't, they wouldn't be bringing SmackDown over to the USA Network.
Yeah.
So, nevertheless, we know exactly where Monday Night Raw is going to be from October to December. And then, of course, January 1st is when Monday Night Raw will officially go fully on Netflix for, I guess,
in America.
Yeah. For
the rest of the world, everything's going there.
That's true. That is very true. I mean, do they still have the old WWE Network? Or is
they won't in January.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Is it all? Oh, it's all going to Netflix.
Yeah, it's all going to Netflix.
Oh, okay, so yeah, guess what? Guess what? Those are peeps from outside the country who may or may not be listening. There's like 4 of y'all.
Yeah.
Get your Netflix subscriptions ready. I canceled mine a long time ago. I guess I'm going to have to renew it now.
Yeah.
So, but yes, Monday Night Raw will be staying with NBC.
I will say if everything goes to Netflix, like by March 2026 here in America, that $20 or whatever price they're charging will be much more worth it.
So, like, what am I trying to say? The SmackDown deal, is that until 2026?
I have no idea.
Okay, that would, I don't know. I don't have that information in front of me. I mean, I guess it would be worth it. No, they would still have, I don't know. It just depends. You know, because the Peacock deal ends in 2026. That's what it is.
Oh, wait. I think SmackDown's deal is till 2029.
Yeah. And then Peacock, because that's what a lot of people were wondering with, you know, Monday Night Raw going to Netflix and stuff. It's like, okay, they're going to do live TV, or are they going to have the pay-per-views or PLEs? And no, not at the moment. Because the Peacock deal goes until 2026. Yeah. So when they start in January, they still have another year of that. I could see them possibly renewing that, because it is, you know, NBC. But it also comes down to how much money each one is wanting to throw out, because for some reason Netflix likes to back up an entire semi into somebody's driveway and just dump you know, a bunch of money on their in their driveway. So, you know,
I guess they're going to test with the rest of the world, I guess, during that year between January 2025 and I think March of 26. See how the rest of the world handles everything on Netflix and then go from there.
Yeah, I'm going to be very interested. We probably will, like, after the deal starts and we give it a month or two, see if maybe subscriptions have shot through the roof, you know, or if they stayed the same for Netflix. If they stayed the same, I don't know what to tell them. But I feel like that there will be more people to subscribe. Also, for people out there, like, you know, around our age, you know, that don't have cable. I don't got cable. I don't got traditional cable. I stream everything. So this is kind of the direction that television is going anyway. Yeah. So, I mean, but we did already mention this individual's name, Scott D'Amore. Okay, he was fired by Anthem, you know, as the TNA president and everything, rather controversially. Yeah. Yet nobody, I don't think a single person outside of the corporate suits agreed with that decision. Yeah. And I understand you got to make tough decisions, but that guy led the charge.
He did.
He made TNA again. Yeah. Unfortunately, TNA is going to TNA, and what do? They get rid of the guy who actually brought him back to, you know, prominence. Yeah. As soon as it started again. But he filed a trademark. Okay, This is coming from EWReslingNews.com. Scott D'Amore, the former TNA president, has filed a trademark application for the name Maple Leaf Wrestling. D'Amore's Border City Wrestling shares the same corporate address mentioned in the filing. Additionally, on May 6th, Maple Leaf Wrestling filed for another trademark application, this time for the name Grand Prix Wrestling. End quote. I don't know what Scott's doing.
I don't know either.
I'm not.
So he owns Border City Wrestling, and he filed for Maple Leaf, and then Maple Leaf filed for Grand Prix.
Yeah.
What?
I don't know what he's got cooking up there.
Yeah.
Now the question is, he has his own promotion and stuff. Would some of the current TNA talent, once their contracts start ending, would they start funneling over to Scott D'Amore's promotion? Because, there's already that trust there with them. It just, in my head, it makes sense doing that. So I'm not entirely sure. I just think it is. It's an interesting move, but it's also a puzzling one.
Yeah.
I'm not entirely sure on that one.
I assume it's in Canada.
Yeah, I mean, Maple Leaf Wrestling. Let me click on the. I'm trying to click on the daggone. Okay, there we go. I'm trying to click on the link. I keep the links on here, so in case for just such an occasion. No, Maple Leaf Wrestling actually was ran by the Tunney family. President Jack Tunney. Yep. His family ran that promotion during the 70s and 80s. All of this is coming from eWrestlingNews.com.
Will this be the same Maple Leaf or a new Maple Leaf?
It would be new.
Okay.
But it's the same name. I guess maybe it's kind of like, you're resurrecting an old brand.
Yeah.
An old brand that's recognizable in Canada.
Yeah.
I mean, and I'm sure that Scott D'Amore was a fan of Maple Leaf Wrestling when he was growing up because, he is from Canada. Additionally, Grand Prix Wrestling, the other trademark that he has filed for, that name was also used for a former promotion Emily Dupree ran for several decades in Canada. So both of these names, Maple Leaf Wrestling and Grand Prix Wrestling, have some historical significance to them in Canada. So I don't know what Scott's doing.
Maybe he's building an empire.
Maybe.
Have little pockets of promotions.
Maybe he's starting his own NWA up there.
Yeah.
Just having his own little promotions left and right. I don't know. Border City. He's got Border City Wrestling, Maple Leaf Wrestling, and Grand Prix Wrestling. I don't know. We'll see. We'll keep an eye on that. On that story. I'm going to click off this website because there's a political ad that popped up. I'm so done with them. So done with the political ads.
Yeah.
So moving on, since we are talking about promotions outside of the country, Best of the Super Juniors 31 has been announced. May 11th was the first night of the tournament, which was technically last night.
Yeah.
Their time, as also our time. The finals will be June 9th at Osaka Joe Hall. If you're not familiar with the Best of the Super Juniors or the G1 Climax in New Japan or just Puroresu in general, they do what is called a round-robin tournament. And it's not single elimination like what we're used to with the King of the Ring tournaments and whatnot. It is a points-based system. WWE has sort of flirted with this idea a little bit. But basically, you split them in two different blocks. And also AEW did do a round robin for the Continental Classic, which did receive a lot of positive reviews from what I've seen.
I've got a comment on that later.
Okay. But so you have the gist of a round robin tournament is everybody's separated in two blocks. You have all of your competitors in A block and B block. They all compete against each other. If you win, you get 2 points. If you draw, because they all have a time limit, if you draw, you get 1 point. If you lose, of course, you get no points. And at the end of the two blocks, whoever is the winner of each block goes on to what is the finals, and it's pretty much a sudden death between the two block winners. So that's the gist of a round-robin tournament.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go ahead and give you A block and B block. So A block consists of Blake Christian, Bushi, Clark Connors, El Desperado, Hayata, Kevin Knight, Kosei Fujita, Titan, TJP, and Yoshinobu Kanemura. B block will be Doki, Dragondia, Drilla Maloney, Francesca Akira, Hiromi Takahashi, Kushida, Ninja Mac, Robbie Eagles, Sho, and Taiji Ishimori. Those are your 2 blocks for Best of the Super Juniors 31. Like I said, the first night was last night, May 11th, and then the finals will be June 9th at Osaka-jo Hall.
Yeah.
So, what was your comment?
So they had the Continental Classic back in December, and now WWE's doing this King and Queen of the Ring tournaments. And I was watching, and I was like, man, this almost feels like the Continental Classic. Wait, did they bring this back as a response to that?
Well, the King. The King yeah. Listen, I don't mean to be. WWE does. They will not say it. They do a lot of responses. Yeah.
Granted, they were supposed to do it last year and they canceled it, but I was like, I don't know.
And if you've ever noticed, and I'm not going to dive too far into the whole press conference stuff. I've already had my own comments before about Triple H during his press conferences. You notice that. And AEW ripped that off of Japanese promotions. Mm-hmm. A lot of Japanese promotions do press conferences after the show. They'll actually, as the show is going on, they'll have like little press conferences, and the press will be there to interview whoever as the show is continuing. But of course, at the end of the broadcast, they'll be like, "All right, we're going to take it to the back. We got the winner of whatever the main event was, and they're going to sit there and talk." And they go ahead and do it. WWE has. And I'm not blaming them. I'm not blaming them for taking that from AEW, because AEW took it from Japan. And if you think about it, professional wrestling itself is just a giant ripoff from something else.
I might be wrong, but hasn't WWE, back when they were still WWF, did it a few times too? They
did it a few times, but not. They did it with contract signings and stuff, because you remember the famous one with Hulk Hogan and Andre the Giant.
Well, the one that comes to mind immediately is just the Owen Hart one.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there was the Owen Hart one, and then there was the Brian Pillman one. So I guess under those circumstances, but just the way they're presenting it now, after a show, we're going to have a quick press conference, and the press can ask whatever. Yeah. Now, one thing I will say that I think is driving them a little nuts is, the press is the press, the media is the media. They're going to ask, questions that you may not want them to ask. Yeah. So it's going to take Triple H a little bit of time to get used to that. Yeah. So, yeah. But at the same time, AEW has made responses to WWE, and WWE makes responses to AEW. It's all a big thing. Yeah. And we've already said before on the program that we just get tired of the constant, shade thrown at each promotion. It's like, just enjoy wrestling. Just enjoy wrestling. So, and speaking of enjoying wrestling, up next, we are going to talk about wrestling crowds. Okay, our experiences with them. We're going to talk about the Backlash crowd in Lyon, France, that has everybody talking, and possibly played into a 5-star match in the main event, according to Dave Meltzer. So with that being said, stay tuned. We'll be right back.
It's time for more of the Grill Out. Here's Hollywood Jeff Petty.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your host, and the crowd goes mild. I'm your host, Hollywood Jeff Petty, and I'm joined by my co-host, the maestro, Josh Cole, Bebe, the belt collector, our belt expert.
Yeah.
Yes.
Not the champion, which we know who the champion is. He won the predictions. We don't have to get into it.
Yeah.
Well, he didn't win. Him and I tied.
Yeah, he that was deliberately. And also I do not regret my picks. Oh yeah, that's right. We haven't even announced. Yeah, it was a tie.
Yeah.
So by rules, to draw, champion's advantage, he walks away with it. I don't regret making that random pick. I can't remember what the match was, but I don't regret it.
That was the Triple Threat Women's Championship.
Okay, see, I don't regret that, because you know what? You got to go for broke. I'm not going to sit there and I'm going for the championship, even though it doesn't fit around my waist.
Yeah.
But so, of course, we're talking about Backlash France, WWE Backlash France, and the one thing that everybody's talking about with that show is the crowd.
It was phenomenal.
Yes, you could definitely say that, pun intended. They were a phenomenal crowd. You know, if you watch enough sporting events, you know a crowd is ruckus.
Yeah.
When you have the camera is shaking, it's bouncing up and down from the fans. Mm-hmm. And in fact, like during the show, because we have our little group chat between the three of us. Wasn't it Jason that texted us like, this is why you need to have a Big Five pay-per-view outside of the U.S.?
I think so.
Yeah, I think it was him that threw that out there, which I agree with. You know, because they don't get that very often. I know if you paid attention the past week or so to some of the online commentary, some of this is going to be echoed. But they're right. When you have a crowd like that doesn't get a WWE PLE, doesn't get a SmackDown, doesn't get a Raw, they tend to go a little nuts when it comes to. Plus, European crowds, specifically UK crowds, are rambunctious to begin with.
Yeah.
I mean, go back and watch some NXT UK stuff, I can't remember what it was. There was something because they had Aleister Black at the time come out as Tommy End and all that. I can't remember the name of it. It was when everybody remembered that Michael Cole was actually good on commentary.
Yeah.
Because Vince wasn't in his ear for this program. But yeah, so here's the thing. If you're new to professional wrestling and you're learning a little bit about it, just know that the crowd plays big into it.
Yes.
A lot more than people realize, or some people even want to admit. Because the pandemic a few years ago showed what happens when you don't have a crowd. It was very mundane. It was it was boring. I'll just say that. You could go out there, you could have a 43 start match. I ain't gonna buy into it because the crowd is not. And I guess it's sort of like a reinforcement thing to it.
It feels the energy.
It does. And also the performers in there will feed off of that energy, and they, it all works out. One thing that can kill a match is a bad crowd.
Yeah.
You know, I'm looking at you, Corpus Christi, Texas. That's the one. Like,
shoot. I mean, the match itself wasn't great, but Goldberg, Brock Lesnar, WrestleMania 20, the crowd absolutely killed that.
Yeah.
They made it worse than what it was.
Exactly. That's what I mean. Like crowds like that are like they just kill it. But on the other hand, as to what we saw with the main event or just Backlash France altogether, the crowd plays into it. Big time. It helps. It elevates the product that we're seeing in front of us.
That crowd did not stop all night.
No.
Or day, whatever.
They all day for us, all night for them. Yeah, no, they did not let up the entire time. And that was just completely nuts to me. Maybe this is a sign of things to come with WWE because, I mean, they're kind of flirting with, bringing all these different PLEs to outside of the country. We have Bash in Berlin in August, I believe.
Well, we got King and Queen of the Ring coming up in Saudi Arabia.
Yes.
We got Clash at the Castle Scotland in Scotland, which I don't know why they decided to call it Clash at the Castle because there's no castle related to this event. But then let's see, July is what's in July? I don't remember what's in July, but with Bash in Berlin August.
Hold on, I'm gonna Google. You just keep talking.
Money in the Bank. That's what's in July. It's in Canada.
Oh, okay. Well,
that's not international, but
I was going to say they've done plenty of shows in Canada. Yeah. Canada's just sort of an extension of us now. In wrestling, not all around. There's obviously big differences between the two countries, but
then of course all in AEW will be in UK in August.
Yeah, which that crowd, going back and watching it was crazy. But UK crowds are nuts anyway.
I will say the next time they do the all-in show, they need to do something with production because watching back, you could hear the crowd, but it didn't feel like you could hear them that well over the broadcast.
Oh man, production issues.
Yeah,
Tony, do something about it. Come on, especially with what But I will say this: one of the more interesting crowds I have seen. I don't mean to keep going back to Japanese wrestling, but it's a culture shock.
Yeah.
Because so what we are used to as Americans as people who are fans of professional wrestling, you're used to going out and the crowd, the crowd's hot or if it's quiet, it's dead.
Yeah.
And you got to build that crowd back up. In Japan, the crowd starts off quiet anyway. Like if you go when you watch like a New Japan show, at the beginning of every match, the crowd is very quiet. Mm-hmm. Carl Anderson talks about this. He's like, and you can slowly hear them eventually get louder and louder and louder, and they'll just and then it just comes to a fever pitch, and then it gets to the next match and it just dies back down.
Yeah,
like it's just and what it is, it's a cultural thing with them, because not that we don't respect professional wrestling, mm-hmm. we very much do, but they want to give the wrestlers, the performers, the quote unquote the artists, mm-hmm. give them time to kind of put the pieces in place and whatnot. And yeah, like it's a little bit of a shock.
Yeah,
you're not, like if you're not used to it and you've never watched it, you turn it on, you're like, man, this crowd is dead. And then they'll just get a little bit louder as it goes on, and then they'll die back down. And like I said, it's a cultural thing with Japan. Like they're very respectful when it comes to things. I remember watching like Wrestle Kingdom. And you can always tell the people who are not from there, like, because they'll be jumping up and down and waving and all this. And then you'll have all the other, like, locals pretty much, or people who live in Japan and have followed it. Like, they're just calm as they could be. Just polite, calm, everything. And then you got the American fans sitting there, like, with a shirt off, just swinging his shirt around. Like, so much so that even Kevin Kelly pointed out on the broadcast, he goes, not all fans in New Japan are like that guy. And it's some guy that's, like, losing his mind on camera. But, yeah, like, a crowd can make or break a show, a match altogether. And it's also, it's kind of fun being in a crowd that is very energetic. Mm-hmm. Like, I remember being... I've talked about this before on the program. It was my brother, one of my best friends, and me, and we were at Pro Wrestling Conquest. It was when Danhausen was there. Oh. And we got a shock, surprise that night of the Sandman. Mm. Like, Shane Douglas came out, he's out there talking, and the next thing you know, you hear Enter Sandman playing. I remember I looked at my brother, and I looked at my best friend, and I'm like, oh no, he's here. And the next thing you know, here comes Sandman. Mm. And just for some reason, just the whole night, that crowd was just off the charts a little bit for an independent show.
Yeah,
like it just was. And the one thing that did kill me about it was when it came to Danhausen, nobody like he does the whole tequila thing. It got to the point to say Danhausen. Everybody said tequila except for our little section because we've watched enough Danhausen. We went, Danhausen. He goes, they get it. Click. So, yeah, like you do. But then you have times, I know we brought it up when you're in a crowd and it's very not comfortable. And that was the all-in footage that was released.
Yeah,
that was probably the most awkward I've been at a wrestling show. I just felt uncomfortable. I don't know what else to. Yeah, I don't know how else to put that.
I will say, like when you're in those crowds and it's going crazy, it almost amplifies your own enjoyment of it.
Yes,
like you feel the energy, and it's how do you put it? I can't think of the right word I want to say, but you're more into it. Yeah,
yeah, like you're more in tune to what's going on. Like, that's the purpose of professional wrestling is, you've got to hear that crowd.
Yeah.
Like John Cena, I don't know if you know this or not. John Cena talked about, like, it was when WWE was starting to do, I think it was around WrestleMania 23, maybe a little after that, when WWE was starting to do more stadium shows, mm-hmm. more of the open air stadium shows and all of that. And John Cena made a good point. He said, I would rather be in an arena.
Yeah.
And the reason for that is you can hear the crowd more.
Yeah.
They sound more on top of you, whereas an open air, like football stadium, the noise goes out the top, and you don't get that, you don't get that reinforcement from the crowd telling you, hey, you're doing a good job.
Yeah.
Like, it just... Yeah, and as somebody who does have a communications background, if I'm public speaking and I'm not getting a certain, I'm not getting a response or anything from the crowd, you do start to get a little squirrely up there.
Yeah.
If you're not used to it.
Yeah.
But no, the Backlash crowd though made that show. I think it was a good show regardless. I think it shows the direction that WWE is going. It shows, what the future is going to hold with them. But I do think that Backlash crowd helped it tremendously.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah.
AJ wanted to smile.
He did. He had to hold back a little bit. He's like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah.
And they were singing the songs and everyththing. You don't get that all the time with an American crowd.
Yeah.
Sometimes, again, Corpus Christi, Texas. I'm looking at you. Everybody talks about how bad Corpus Christi is. Yeah. I don't know why they would run shows there. If the crowd is not good, why are you going to run shows there?
I don't know.
It doesn't make a daggone bit of sense to me.
Yeah.
It just doesn't. And I mean, I guess also it goes for other forms of entertainment if you think about it. If you go to a rock show and the crowd's not into it, it kind of sucks.
Yeah.
If you're at a concert of some sort, and I guess unless it's I don't know. I've never been to any classical music concerts. You might be able to speak more on that.
Classical, it's different because when they're performing, crowd is basically quiet, in tune, listening, being respectful, and they don't really clap or cheer anything until after the piece is over.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sort of like how I was describing the Japanese crowds.
Yeah, yeah.
There's a level of respect to it. So that makes sense.
Yeah. But speaking as a musician, when there's a different feel going on performing, say, in front of 100-some people, whatever, or 20 people.
Yeah.
You're still glad to perform, but when you're performing in 20 people, it's a little deflating that there's not very many people there to see it.
Yeah. I have heard stories of so when I was in college, a professor of mine, she had to do this seminar, and she thought there was going to be all these people in there. She goes in, there's 5 people.
Yeah.
So what she did was she stepped down off the stage, grabbed the chair, and was like, "All right, come on, everybody. We're going to gather around like it's an AA meeting.
Yeah.
And we're going to have this discussion right here, right now."
Yeah.
So I get that. It would be really deflating. You go out and you just see, 5 people in the crowd.
Yeah.
You're like, man.
I've had it a lot of times.
Yeah. This is the pandemic era all over again. But the thing that saved the pandemic, matches was I can't think of the name right now. The Boneyard match in them. I can't think of what
the cinematic matches.
Yeah, the cinematic matches. I couldn't think of the name.
Yeah,
I'm drawing a blank. It's been a long week, everybody. But yeah, and I will say this also. This is another thing that I have seen pop up with wrestling crowds, and it's been mainly towards all of the women. It happened at WrestleMania. There was somebody that was, hollering stuff at the women, saying that women can't wrestle and stuff. They got thrown out. There was an incident this past week with Sky Blue of somebody making,
vulgar comments.
I was going to say vulgar comments towards them, and come to find out they were there with their kid, which brings a whole other set of questions in. Be respectful.
Yeah.
Don't be that person.
Yeah.
Don't be those fans, because I'm surprised it's taken us 36 episodes to get to this point talking about fans. Don't be that fan.
Yeah.
Don't be that fan that's going to be obnoxious, that's going to be disrespectful, that's going to be, just ruin it for everybody else. I mean, even the AEW shows when we go to, I've never been to a WWE TV taping, so they may do this. I don't know, so I can't speak on that, but I can speak on the AEW shows I've been to. You know this. Before the show starts, they have the thing that comes up and is be respectful of others. If you start screaming slurs or this and start harassing people and just genuinely be obnoxious and be a nuisance, you're going to get asked to leave.
Yeah.
So don't be those fans. Don't be the fans that CM Punk is talking about the ones that hang out at airports. That's just, I'm sorry, that's crazy.
Yeah. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, that's a whole other whole other discussion that we can get into, but won't right now. But yeah, like it just, yeah, I don't be that person.
Yeah.
Don't be the person that if you're sitting there and you're thinking, hey, I want to be an idiot. I want to be an idiot. Just sit there and think, like, everybody has a camera on them.
Yeah.
You may end up on the internet and then get drugged through the mud on the internet. Don't be that fan. But I will say sometimes certain things happen, and it happens by accident.
Yeah.
I've been in those situations. I won't go into it because the person has asked me before never to bring up their name to it, but there was an incident between a person I know and a wrestler that, under other circumstances would be bad. This person accidentally, through their excitement, kind of grabbed the wrestler. There are other circumstances this would be bad.
Yeah.
But it was a complete mistake. It was just excitement, and also the wrestler themselves were kind of cool with it. They were okay. They were like, I will say this, and I won't say the wrestler's name. I may say it later on. But to me, it speaks more on their character, because if other wrestlers had that happen to them, they would flip out. They were not. They actually turned around and was like, oh my God, is everybody okay? So that was their very first response to it. And it was just by complete accident. Like, just, not even thinking, just that momentary lapse of judgment, and just just screwed up. And the person did apologize. Like, they were like, oh my God, I am so sorry. Like, I've always meant to meet you, and we're respectful at that point. But if you're sitting there like, hey, come over here and get a picture with me.
Yeah.
Don't be that fan.
Yeah.
And if you go out, just have fun. Have a little bit of fun.
You might have paid for a ticket, but you didn't pay for, to be a complete jerk or whatever.
Exactly. And I know the argument of, well, I paid for my ticket. I can do whatever I want. Nah.
Read the fine print.
Yeah. Like, if you go out there and you just start throwing stuff, and you just, again, you genuinely just start being a nuisance to everybody, and really start endangering people, you're gonna get kicked out.
Yeah.
Like, that's I am fully behind that. But if you're that, or if you're sitting there, you're being vulgar towards somebody, or you're slinging slurs of some sort towards somebody, then yes, you 100% should be removed from the crowd. I don't care how much you paid for your ticket. You bought the ticket. That's how I look at it. You bought the ticket. You decided to waste a ticket at that point. So, but we'll end the discussion there, because, like what I said in the previous segment, we had an announcement this past week on Wednesday. We announced on our Facebook page. So, the weekend of Memorial Day, we have other like possible announcements. I haven't been able to fully confirm them yet. I'm trying to finalize some details on certain things. But for the weekend of Memorial Day, you're going to get your regular grill out that Memorial Day, which will be May 26th. May 25th, which is the day of the King and Queen of the Ring, you will have a grill out special. Our first special will be coming out. It is called the King of the Ring Runner-Up Tournament. So this was Jason's idea. He pitched it a few months ago. We talked a little bit in the episode. It's already recorded. We've kind of already done all that. And I will say it's a lengthy one. Yeah. It's going to be a lengthy one.
But it's a special.
Oh, it's a special, and it's a good one. I will say this. We thoroughly enjoyed ourselves doing this. Because what we did, this is how Jason pitched it to us. We take every runner-up from the King of the Ring minus Kurt Angle
and Randy Savage.
Because they were runner-ups, but then went on to win the tournament.
It was actually the reverse.
Really?
They won it, and then later they were runner-up.
Oh, well, okay.
But yeah.
Yeah, nevertheless, they were runner-ups, but they also did win the tournament. So they kind of disqualified themselves with this. So, but we took all of the runner-ups that did not win the King of the Ring, and we fantasy booked our own King of the Ring tournament. We talked amongst ourselves. Jason kind of navigated us through all of it, and we voted on what we thought. If there was a discrepancy of any sorts, then we sort of did like a mini debate on why we think this should be this way. So, yes, that will be coming out on May 25th. You will get a double dose of the Grill Out that weekend. Yes. So, you'll get that. And then, of course, like I said, you'll get your regular Grill Out episode that Sunday, May 26th. And that will be for Memorial Day weekend. And also, yes, for the King and the Queen of the tournament. King and Queen of the Ring tournament. Yes, I said that correctly.
Yeah.
I got my tongue tied a little bit.
Sorry, 2024 winner. You were too late.
Yeah. Sorry. We weren't. Yeah, we could.
We couldn't really do a Queen one because, well, there's only been one.
Yeah, there hasn't been enough of them. Also, there was we had 20? Yeah, we had 20 participants actually. Like for that. Not participants, but we had 20 wrestlers that we could work with.
Yeah.
Randy Savage and Kurt Angle, like I said, they would have made it 22, but we disqualified them due to them winning the tournament. Mm. So we had 20 wrestlers. We may go ahead and release the names. I don't have it in front of me. We may just go ahead later on.
We'll
that's what we're going to do.
Wednesday.
Yes.
8 a.m.
Yeah. Wednesday 8 a.m. We will release the winner, the participants for our King of the Ring runner-up tournament. And like I said, it will go out that day, probably around noonish. I don't know. I don't have a set time yet. We will figure that part out. But if you can listen to it after you watch the King and Queen of the Ring tournament out of Saudi Arabia.
I think that show itself will be at noon. The Saudi Arabia show.
Okay.
So,
well, you know what? We're still ironing out details, and we probably will have other announcements between then and now.
We're leveling up.
We are. We're like Tony Khan now, making all these announcements. But hey, that just means that the podcast is getting more popular. We are enjoying everybody that has liked the Facebook page, that has messaged us, that has been contributing. We do enjoy the wrestling promotions that have been interacting with us on there. Some of them have even been working with us. We had AEW working with us last month.
Yeah.
We're working. We're getting to the point where we're working with other independent promotions. So, a lot of exciting stuff coming forward. And yes, we are leveling up.
Yeah. I was gonna you spoke about those independent promotions, like Route 33 Wrestling, Mega Pro Wrestling, World Domination Wrestling Alliance, and West Virginia Wrestling Entertainment. They've all interacted with our post. Route 33 actually reshared one of them.
Oh, yeah, yes, they did. They did, actually. So, again, and if you listen to this, thank you.
Yeah.
And if you are listening to this on WSWW 1490 AM on the Monday, go like the Facebook page.
Yeah.
We're starting to get more people to like it, more engagement over there. Josh is very good about the Facebook page in general. I am terrible at social media. I just am. The only thing I'm good at is just getting people mad. I guess you could just say I heal it up on social media for whatever reason.
Yeah.
But Josh is the one that mainly mans the Facebook page. He does an awesome job with it. Also, we have little clips of the previous week's episodes that go up there as well to kind of again get you a little bit of engagement. Yeah. So, with that being said, we will end the segment there. Speaking of independent wrestling promotions, we have some for you to watch out for in the main event coming up, and we will also have On This Day in Wrestling History. So, stay tuned.
Once again, here's Hollywood Jeff Petty.
We're live, pal.
Yes, we are. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We'll do it live. Okay, now this is all pre-taped. I'm your host, Hollywood Jeff Petty. I'm joined by the maestro, Cole, baby.
Is he crying?
Oh man! At the break, we were talking about Southpaw Regional Wrestling. If you've never sat down and watched it, come back to our show, pause this right now, go watch it, and then come back. Because we do have a tendency to make plenty of references to that.
Yeah.
Because you got to have
Good Lord.
You got to have that charisma, kid. Clint Bobsky. All right.
Almost like good Lord's becoming into my vocabulary.
It is a thing. It is one of our things on this show. Yeah. And good Lord.
Yeah.
Charisma. And just because Jason's not here, how Sting hates you for some reason.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't get it. Yeah. Anyway, on this day in wrestling history. May 12th, 1996, Ahmed Johnson defeated Hunter Hearst Helmsley in the finals to win the WWF Kuwait Cup tournament. At the same event in Kuwait City, Shawn Michaels retained the WWF World title against Stone Cold Steve Austin in the main event. Subsequently, 2 years before he dropped the belt to Stone Cold at WrestleMania 14. So maybe they were kind of testing the waters a little bit there.
Yeah.
And then, I don't know exactly when. Well, yeah, this
would have been right before Stone Cold won the King of the Ring.
Yeah, so this was probably, I think this may have been in the period between the curtain call and Stone Cold winning that. So, yeah, like maybe they were like, all right, you're going to win the Kuwait Cup, but, we're going to bury you everywhere else.
Yeah.
Austin, you're up. May 14th, 2004, TNA Wrestling announced that they will begin production of a weekly television show for Fox Sports Net in June.
20 years ago, exactly.
Yes, this would put an end to their weekly pay-per-view model. Which, a lot of I think it was the first 2 years TNA was a thing. They just did weekly pay-per-views.
Yeah.
I don't know how I would feel about that these days.
Yeah.
Hey, I guess it just worked for the time.
I wonder how much they were. I assume they were probably fairly cheap.
I would say they would have to be.
Yeah.
Like it would probably have to be like $5 or something.
Yeah.
Maybe 10 at the most.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It just interesting. Lastly, May 12th, 2012. At Ring of Honor Border Wars in Toronto, Kevin Steen defeated Davey Richards to win the ROH World Heavyweight title in the main event. The world's greatest tag team, Charlie Haas and Shelton Benjamin, beat the Briscoes in a fight without honor to win the Ring of Honor World Tag Team Championship.
Is that just like a street fight, basically?
I pretty much, I think so. Also, Roderick Strong pinned Fit Finlay to retain the ROH World Television Championship, and Jay Lethal defeated Tommaso Ciampa.
Man, where are all those guys at now?
I know. I think they did pretty well for themselves.
Yeah. Other than who's Davey Richards?
Davey Richards is going to call into the show now. You don't know who I am?
And Charlie Haas, though, I don't think he performs anymore.
No, I think he had some health issues. Yeah. Kind of crazy, though, the world's greatest tag team were in Ring of Honor.
Yeah.
One of the reasons why I picked that. But that is on this day in wrestling history. We're going to go ahead and finish everything up with the main event. The main event, basically, we're just giving you a look at what your week is in professional wrestling, giving a shout out to local wrestling promotions, and if you're in the area, you should go to their shows. So Atlantic Terror Championship Wrestling will be in action at the Leetown Community Center in Carneysville, West Virginia, presenting the Sean Adams Memorial Show. Bell time is at 7 o'clock. What day is that on?
These are all Saturday the 18th.
Okay, all of this is on Saturday the 18th. Elite Pro Wrestling Alliance presents Saturday Night Special at the Indy Theater in Kaiser, West Virginia. Bell time is at 7 p.m. and tickets are $15. Elite Pro also does regular shows generally every Thursday at 7 p.m. also at the Indy Theater in Kaiser, and these shows are $10. Mega Pro Wrestling will be in Dunbar, West Virginia at the Dunbar Recreation Center for their event Fear the Reaper. Bell time is at 7:30 p.m. Chair seating is $20. Bleachers are $15, and kids 5 and under get in free. Real Shoot Wrestling will hold some kind of monster as part of the Taylor County Fair in Grafton, West Virginia. Bell time is at 5 p.m. Admission to the fair itself is $10, which includes access to all of the fair events. So if you attend the Taylor County Fair, you also get into the wrestling show. The Ranson Civic Center in Ranson, West Virginia will host Tri-State
Restival.
I'm
pretty sure it's how it is. Festival, Restival.
Yeah. Restival. This is a co-promoted super show between World Domination Wrestling Alliance of Martinsburg, West Virginia, Voltage Wrestling of Waynesboro, Pennsylvania, and Pay Your Dues Pro Wrestling of Baltimore, Maryland. Bell time is at 7:30 p.m. and tickets range from $15 to $40. The event will feature Buff Bagwell of the former World Championship Wrestling promotion.
James Storm will also be there.
Yes, James Storm will also be there. That's not on here, but
Yeah.
Josh has got all the info. That is all of your local wrestling promotion news. As far as on television, it's your regularly scheduled programming this week. Of course, we did talk about the best of the Super Juniors, so that will be scattered out throughout the week for New Japan Pro Wrestling. As far as American professional wrestling, Monday night is Raw, Tuesday is NXT, Wednesday will be AEW Dynamite, Thursday will be Ring of Honor and TNA. Also, NWA will be Tuesday. I always forget NWA for some reason. Friday will be SmackDown.
Maybe Rampage. It's been on like Wednesdays and Saturdays these past couple weeks because of whatever tournament's going on.
I think it's the NBA playoffs that's going on, so they've been really shifting them around.
I'm not sure if it's over yet or not, but
no, it goes until June.
Okay, so either Wednesday or Saturday will be a 3-hour AEW show, whichever.
Yeah, of course you have Collision because it will return this Saturday.
Yeah,
it was not there this past Saturday, so yeah, we unfortunately gave you misinformation last. No, we didn't have a show last week.
Yeah,
never mind. We didn't do that. We didn't give you no misinformation. Of course, we've talked about the Facebook. Go like it. It is The Grill Out. If you have any comments on this, thegrillout95@gmail.com. You can email us there. You can talk to us on the Facebook. Like we said, we've been getting a lot of engagement from people.
Yeah.
From other wrestling promotions. If you are I'll say this, if you are a promoter out there and you're wanting to get your show out a little bit and you want a quick little interview with us, hey, we can try to hook you up. We can, give you a few minutes on the show to talk about your show that you have coming up. Yeah. We do genuinely try to give shout-outs to independent wrestling promotions because, well...
If we miss any, we're sorry. We're only so small and can only see so many.
Yeah, there's only 3 of us.
Yeah.
And one of them is not here right now.
As of like Congo. 2 weeks ago, I only know of like 10 promotions. Now I know of like 20.
Yes, there's 20 different promotions in West Virginia.
Maybe more, who knows?
Yeah. Hey, listen, the more the merrier is the way I look at it. So, with that, ladies and gentlemen, you have anything else, Josh?
No, just thanks for the engagement on Facebook.
Exactly. Keep the engagement up. Like I said, like the Facebook page. You can email us at thegrillout95@gmail.com. And until next time, fellow wrestling fans,
what?
Have a good one.
Goodbye, and good night, back.